Hey everybody, Foley here for the weekly news recap for the 3rd and 9th of April 2023. No, Milwell, it is not 3 p.m. just yet, but shall we say I'm looking to change the time that I do the weekly news recap at, because I don't know, it being in the middle of the day is not helpful. More or less, I'm going to try to do it a little bit earlier than usual. How's it going? Anyway, we'll get into the news. So, this button. And, right, so, it's actually a pretty quiet week this week for the video game industry. We have Final Fantasy's Pixel remasters are coming out to Switch and PlayStation in April. They've been out on PC for a while now, for about a year or so. So the Pixel remasters are Final Fantasy 1 to 6, remastered, as it were. And they've been added like a bunch of boosts and, quality of life things like turning off random encounters and speeding up the game and stuff like that. What's notable here, for PlayStation and for Switch at least, is that they have changed the font. Huge news, everybody. They've changed the font. So, when the Pixel remasters were released initially, they were launched with this really horrible, super compact, modern font that just did not look right. It looked very out of place in the game, and people were kind of pissed about it. This is sort of kind of what happens with anytime Square Enix does a remaster or a re-release of Final Fantasy, it fucks something up. Like, there's always something that fucks up. This time it was the font. Usually it's the music. This time it was the font. But anyway, for the Switch and PlayStation versions, and I assume there'll be an update to the PC version, they've made a pixel-based font. So it's still not the original one. Hey, how's it going, Banana? It's still not a pixel-based font. Oh, sorry, it's still not the original Final Fantasy font, but it looks better, at least. Anyway, that's coming out 19th of April. Then announced this week is a game called Little Guardsman. So Little Guardsman looks an awful lot like Papers, Please. So it's basically like a cartoon, child-friendly Papers, Please type deal. You are a guardsman, tiny baby guardsman. I think you're 12 or something. And your job is to whether or not you let people into the city, basically. But it's not done the Papers, Please, which is a sort of grim fascist state kind of thing. It's more of a fun medieval cartoonish type thing. But it's still the same basic gist of gameplay. I'm gonna skip ahead since there is actual gameplay at some point. But yeah, it's Papers, Please. It's child-friendly Papers, Please. Yep, that's what it is. The trailer's pretty funny, so it seems like it'll be a bit of fun. There's no release date. It's only just been announced, so I don't know. I guess it'll come out eventually. It'll be a fun one to check out, though. Elsewhere, mature content for ages 18+. Epic Games for this week. I never thought I would see something like this. A friendly Papers, Please. Only for the kids. I mean, when they remake... I wonder if this is what people thought in ye olden days, when, Grimm's Fairy Tales were, remade for Disney. Because the Grimm's Fairy Tales are grim. Very grim. But not the Disney version. Disney versions are very sanitized. Anyway, free games for Epic. It'll be on Thursday. Mordhau is a medieval first-person PvP thing. So it's first-person knights clashing against each other. It's pretty nuts. Mordhau is a multiplayer medieval slasher. Create your mercenary and fight in brutal battles where you will experience fast-paced combat, castle sieges, cavalry charges, and more. It is strictly multiplayer, so there's no single-player thing. You jump in with a bunch of friends, or randos, or enemies. I don't know. Play more games with your enemies, I guess, and beat the shit out of them as a medieval mercenary knight type deal. That's Mordhau. And then Second Extinction. We've had First Extinction, but what about Second Extinction? I've never heard of this game before, but anyway. Big map, big dinos, big guns. Face an ever-changing threat level with your friends. Second Extinction is an online co-op FPS with bite. It sounds like... What was the Turtle Rock game where it was like a 4v1 thing and you were like 4 guys and then another player was like a big monster? Extinction? Something like that? That's what it sounds like. Although... Oh no, they're regularly sized dinos. Okay, that's not the same thing. It's more like a team-based swarm attack kind of thing. Anyway, free going into early access by the looks of things. It's free entry into early access, which means I guess you get the game free when it's actually finished. I don't know. Anyway, Xbox has announced the first wave of Game Pass games for April for 2023. So we have first up Iron Brigade, which is a 2011 game by Double Fine Productions. Iron Brigade, I believe, is a tower defense slash base siege type game. So it's like waves of enemies, and you have to like set out your siege weapons, tanks, and stuff like that to kind of deal with them, I think, is the general gist of it. Yeah, I think you're just like in Friends, and you just have a big tank mech type thing. Anyway, Iron Brigade. Ghostwire Tokyo, which we played on the channel. We did a full Let's Play of Ghostwire Tokyo when the game came out. It's effectively first-person ninjutsu. You have, like, your jutsu powers that kind of play like guns, and it's in modern Tokyo. I thought the game looked really good. But I felt the gameplay was it got a bit too samey after a while, and it's way too short. But it looks really good. It looks incredible, and walking around in Tokyo is great. But otherwise, it's okay. It's not amazing. After that, Minecraft Legends. So Minecraft Legends is launching directly into Game Pass. So this will be day one Game Pass. Minecraft Legends is Minecraft RTS. So Minecraft, but StarCraft. So Minecraft. Wait, that doesn't work. StarCraft. Wait, that doesn't work. Shit. Mindstar? Anyway, it's kind of a action RPG or TS type thing. You have your guy, Minecraft guy, Steve. Your own version of Steve. You collect various friends. You go on base attack, or you might have to defend your base from enemies and stuff like that. How much of this is Minecraft exactly? I don't think there's a whole lot of building going on, but okay. I guess they want to milk the franchise as much as they can. Anyway, Minecraft Legends. Loop Hero. So Loop Hero, again, is a somewhat tower defense, tower attack thing. It is a roguelike, so you're not expected to win, really. Expected to die a lot. But it is very satisfying to sort of place your... It's sort of satisfying to place your kind of assets, your allies and stuff in a way that they have, like, progressively more damage over time. You know, you get into this really good loop of just really satisfying synergy between all your different allies, all your different assets and stuff like that. It's a fun game, and if you already have Game Pass, it's free. And then last one is some fucking sports game. Who cares? NHL 23. I guess you know if you want this or not. Chances are you probably bought it already. Anyway, hockey game, the latest one. Or not the latest one. NHL 24, I guess, is the latest one. If it's out. Is that even out? I don't know. Sports games are weird. They come out a year early or something. Anyway. Moving on. Okay, so those are some of the games you can play eventually. When they hit Game Pass or when they're announced at some point. But what if you wanted to play something right now? Well, you have Meet Your Maker. So Meet Your Maker is from the same developer as Dead by Daylight. Meet Your Maker is both a base building game, a base protection game, and a base raiding game. So you have... they are in the future. EA are always perpetually in the future. A really bad future where everyone just plays EA Sports games. Meet Your Maker has one side where you build a death trap base, basically, trying to protect this thing called GenMat, or genetic material. We won't go into what else genetic material might be, but anyway. And the other half of the game is, I'm going to try to raid your base and steal it. So you go out into the wasteland to raid bases, get resources, then build up your own base in a similar way, have people raid your base, and so on and so forth. It's a sort of cheap way to make a game, kind of, but from what I've seen, it's got a lot of hype. People are really liking it. You know, there's like a very small handful of bases that are made by the developer, whereas the vast majority of them are made by other players. So it's kind of a cheap way to make a game. We just made a level editor. Knock yourselves out. But hey, it's working for people. Anyway, that's Meet Your Maker. It is, I believe it launched directly into PlayStation Plus as well. So if you have PlayStation Plus, chances are you have it for free right now. No, that's the wrong button. Go backwards. No, go backwards. It does not want to go backwards. All right, anyway. Moving on, Raven's Watch. So Raven's Watch is launching into Steam Early Access this week at some point. Raven's Watch is kind of like, it's a roguelike Diablo. So it's a Diablo clone, but it's a roguelike, so you're expected to die and redo things and just get better progressively over time. What's interesting about Raven's Watch is it is fairy tale characters. That's a short trailer. It is fairy tale. I'm just going to put this on repeat because I'm going to need to talk for a bit more. So fairy tale characters. So Aladdin, Elsa from Frozen, Little Red Riding Hood, Beowulf, which is one of these things is not like the other. Beowulf is in there for some reason. The Pied Piper and stuff like that. So it's kind of interesting. They're like interesting takes on the characters. Red Riding Hood's not so interesting a take. It's fairly obvious where you would go with her. She's the big bad wolf. You know, she's a werewolf. Makes sense. The rest of them is kind of interesting. Pied Piper is like he kind of plays a bit like the Necromancer, I guess, from Diablo, and that like he summons rats. Necromancer summons skellies, obviously. Beowulf has a dragon buddy that follows them around. Elsa is like a crowd control kind of thing. She's like slowing down enemies and catching them in traps and stuff like that. And Aladdin just seems like he's super fast-paced. And there's more characters to come. They haven't announced all of them, but I guess that's the whole point of being in early access. You'll see more of them as the game progresses. If you want to interested in early access, you can check that out. So, moving on. Unfortunately, though, it is now time to talk about the worst parts of video games, the video game industry. So, Arc 2 has been delayed. Arc 1 is getting a $40 upgrade that will kill the last-gen servers. So, some really shitty practices here from the Arc developer. So, first up, Arc 2 has been delayed. It's meant to be coming out this year. It's going to be coming out next year instead. However, the developer wants to get ready for the eventual server swap over. They have changed to Unreal Engine 5, which means the servers have to go through a certain amount of upgrade, and rather than upgrading the servers, they're just going to make new ones. Now, this isn't typically a problem. However, Ark is like a online survival type thing. The servers are kind of important, and they're just about to shut them down effectively. So anyway, the studio is releasing an upgrade to the first game called Ark Survival Evolved, and the upgrade will be called Survival Ascended or something like that. This will be a paid upgrade, so it's not free. You have to pay for it. However, if you decide, you know what, I'm happy with the game I have, I don't want to pay for an upgrade that seems unnecessary, well, fuck you. Players who choose not to upgrade will lose online functionality as the official last-gen servers will be turned off. Wow, fuck you very much. A bunch of corporate bullshit for them to say why they're doing this. It boils down to a big money grab, as it turns out. Survival Ascended, yada yada yada, via the Arc Respawned bundle. So this is how you get the game. So you can't just buy, the upgrade by itself. You have to buy the upgrade and the sequel as a bundle, and the sequel will not be out for another year. And you know very little about the sequel, and you may have zero interest in the sequel, but you gotta buy it as part of this bundle. I was like, I don't want it. I don't even want the upgrade, to be honest, but you're forcing my hand here. $50. When Survival Ascended is released, servers for Survival Evolved will be shut down. This will cut off access to players who don't have the upgrade. This will shut off multiplayer functionality, which is a huge part of the game. This will be like things having your base shared on a server with other players. You won't be able to access it anymore. This is for a game you've already bought, that you've been supporting, that is the reason the developer is able to make a sequel in the first place, and they're just shitting all over you because they can, effectively. And the reason they can is because it's going into Game Pass, which means Microsoft is paying for all of this anyway. You won't be buying their game, effectively, is the way they're looking at it. They're going, we got paid a lot of money by Microsoft already, so whatever, we're just going to release our game. The annoying part there, of course, is if it's going to be in Game Pass, and you already own Game Pass, why would you buy the game? But you're going to be forced to buy the game, because the only way to keep your online functionality in the original game is to buy the sequel that you would have got for free because it's in Game Pass. This is double dipping by the developer. You know? It's like, one, you're paying for Game Pass, which means you have access to the game, but now you also gotta buy the game. That's kind of shit. That's kind of shitty practice, really. It should be one or the other. But no, they're gonna force it. They're gonna force the issue. For PlayStation, it's not quite the same. Arc 2 is an Xbox exclusive, so they're not forcing you to buy Arc 2 on PlayStation. You literally can't play it, so you can just buy the upgrade. It's still shit, though. Like, they shouldn't... The upgrade should either be free, or the server upgrade part should not affect the original. They should just preserve them until, I don't know, the sequel is out, or consider an end-of-life thing for the game, or something like that. But it's pretty shit practice for the players who would have been supporting the game and are responsible for your success in the first place. Anyway... Moving on, US government went after Activision over stingy esports salaries, so it wouldn't be an industry bullshit if Activision didn't show up at some point. So, Department of Justice sued Activision, alleging the publishers' esports leagues had been potentially underpaying their workers and players via an exploitative competitive balance tax. So, what's going on here? So this is focusing primarily on the Call of Duty and Overwatch esports leagues, which Activision obviously have oversight of because they own the games. Activision and the teams agreed to impose rules that had the purpose and effect of substantially lessening competition for players by suppressing player compensation. So it's notable here that it says Activision and the teams. Not Activision and the players. The teams. That means team management. Team management have a vested interest in keeping player salaries down. And they decided, without the players involved, hey, we're gonna cap your salary, guys. Have fun with that. So the way it works is if their total player compensation exceeded a threshold set by Activision, so it's not set by a third party, by Activision, who again have a vested interest in keeping these costs down, every dollar they go over the threshold, another dollar has to go to the rest of the teams in the league, and it's split up amongst them. So this is something that's already in play in professional non-esports sports, in-person IRL sports. Gross. The NBA does something like this. However, we'll get into why it's not the same. Anyway, this had the effect of depressing wages for all players on one team. So if they wanted to say they have one really good player on the team and they want to keep that player because they're really good, so they say, hey, what if we bumped your salary up a bit, you know? Would that get you to stay? And they say, yeah, it'll get me to stay, but that puts them over the threshold for the tax, right? So they don't want to be over the threshold for the tax. So what they'll do is, okay, we'll reduce the salary of every other player on the team. That way, we can give them the boost to keep them on the team and still stay under the tax, and everybody is happy except the other players who've just taken a pay cut. So they go, hey, that's kind of shit. I'm going to change teams. Well, guess what? Every other team is doing the same thing. What's that going to happen? That means a handful of players are getting paid really well, and every other player is getting paid fucking nothing. That's what happens. That is essentially what has happened, and why the Department of Justice sued Activision, because that's what happened. Incentivize their competitors to limit player compensation in the same way. So yeah, every team was doing the same thing. So this is almost exactly how the NBA salary cap and luxury tax work. It's the same kind of deal. However, the NBA one was done with a players' union, as in the players were able to negotiate what that salary was. You know, everyone was happy about it. Players were not involved in any way with Activision's deal. Anyway, in 2021, Activision were warned that, hey, this is it's probably illegal. Probably. And then they were sued for it, so yes, it was illegal. Activision then said, okay, they issued a memoranda to all teams to say, okay, don't do that anymore, guys. Don't do that anymore. We might get sued. So they said we're going to stop doing that in 2021. This has now led this week to a settlement by Activision to the Department of Justice. Undisclosed sum of money. But Activision still maintained that we always believed that the competition balance tax was lawful. So lawful that they stopped doing it when they were told it might be illegal. Super lawful, you guys. Cool. Alright, moving on. I've been holding this bottle and haven't taken a drink from it for like 20 minutes. Okay, hang on. So sticking with Activision. And this story that won't go away. Sony pounces on Redfall exclusivity drama in the latest response to Microsoft's Activision acquisition. So this is news that came out 2 weeks ago. That Redfall, the vampire Left 4 Dead, that's being made by Bethesda. Being made by Arcane, who are owned by Bethesda, who are owned by ZeniMax, and Microsoft now own them. However, Redfall was in development at the time that Bethesda was acquired. And as development was going on, they figured, hey, we've always been a big third-party kind of thing. You know, we don't belong to Microsoft, we don't belong to Sony, we don't belong to Nintendo, so we put our games on everything. So Redfall was being developed on PlayStation, as well as Xbox, as well as PC, and so on and so forth. And the news was 2 weeks ago that the creative director of Redfall, I think it was the creative director anyway, it might have been somebody else, as part of an interview kind of let drop that, yeah, we were developing a Sony one, but once Microsoft bought us, they said, you guys are gonna fucking stop that right now. So Sony have said, hey, remember how Microsoft said that if they bought Activision, they'd leave Call of Duty alone, right? They wouldn't fuck with the exclusivity thing. Well, hey, look at this. What do you think of this, CMA? They have prior obvious issues with keeping things exclusive. So Sony are jumping on the fact that Redfall was originally going to be on PlayStation, and once it was acquired, they shut that down. Now, I said months ago that Sony should have jumped on this part of it immediately. Like, don't go after the Call of Duty thing. Don't get tied up in that. Like, I get why they did it, because it's like a very high-profile game. But they should have jumped on this part first, because as soon as Microsoft bought Bethesda, all of Bethesda's games became exclusive. Like, they didn't keep them. And that's their prerogative, you know, they've just bought it, but Microsoft are saying that, no, we'll definitely keep Call of Duty third party. Like, this was the obvious thing to jump on, but they never did. But anyway, they're doing it now. So Sony has criticized the UK regulator currently probing the deal for recently softening its stance. So this is the CMA, the Competition and Markets Authority in the UK, who are responsible for agreeing to the Microsoft Activision merger. Recently, they've been kind of against it, saying that whether or not Call of Duty stays exclusive, they'd said that it has to remain open to all platforms in order to keep competitiveness in the market. They've recently said that, nah, you know what, Call of Duty's not that big a deal. It's fine. If it goes exclusive, Sony won't take too much of a hit on it. And Sony are like, no. Anyway, it concluded that Microsoft owning Call of Duty would not result in a substantial lessening of competition in the console market. So Sony decided to say, hey, look at this. Microsoft had canned plans for a PlayStation 5 version of Redfall after buying Bethesda, and it is an indication of how Microsoft could also treat Call of Duty. Yeah, again, there's nothing... It wouldn't be illegal for them to keep Call of Duty exclusive. This is purely a business deal type thing. There's nothing illegal about it. It wouldn't even be a civil issue if they decided to do it. This is purely market manipulating, the free hand of the market or the invisible something or other, what have you. Anyway, there's nothing... My point is, even if they write a contract to say that they'll do it, it's whatever. They pay a fee and that's the end of it. Anyway, Sony says that these comments are compelling evidence of Microsoft's ability and incentive to foreclose rivals to acquired games. Oops. PlayStation maker highlighted a list of so-called errors that were also in CMA's latest modeling. So this is part of the more general undermining or the softening of their stance. They understate the amount of money to be made from highly engaged Call of Duty fans. So yeah, they buy shit. They spend their money. Sony get a cut of it. Microsoft are currently also getting a cut of it because the platform holder gets a cut. But the CMA are not taking into consideration the fact that once Microsoft own Call of Duty, they're not getting a cut anymore. They're getting the whole thing. So they're not taking into account that they're about to get a massive boost in revenue from that as well. And then they go back to their kind of somewhat paranoid conspiracy theory that Microsoft might intentionally degrade the quality of Call of Duty on PlayStation in an effort to say, oh, it's not working well on PlayStation, is it not? Sorry, guys, that's just, Sony don't like Microsoft, and now that we own Call of Duty, they decided to just not make it play right. But hey, if you want to play Call of Duty with your friends and have no problems, why not come over to Xbox? That's Sony's kind of paranoid idea, I guess, which, not entirely wrong, but they could do it. Anyway, Sony takes aims at Microsoft's examples of using Minecraft as a game it has continued to support on all platforms, and Sony kind of shits on Minecraft a little bit here. Minecraft does not drive anything like the level of purchasing as Call of Duty does. So, yeah, people don't really buy a whole lot of things in Minecraft. There's no microtransaction type thing, there's no server maintenance costs or stuff like that. You buy Minecraft and that's it. That's the end of it. And Sony states it has substantially lower user engagement. I don't know about that. The engagement metrics for Minecraft and Call of Duty would be very different. Call of Duty is people dropping in and dropping out of shootouts constantly. Whereas Minecraft is, I'm going to hang out on my server for a bit. Come over if you want. They're a very different type of games. Anyway. And losing Minecraft would have limited impact on console purchasing decisions. So people aren't buying a PlayStation for Minecraft, basically, is what they're saying. However, Sony does make a rather intriguing point. Sony uses the example of Microsoft limiting the Chrome OS version of Minecraft to its Education Edition as evidence of it blocking the game from a rival platform. So this is, Minecraft is only available on the Education Edition of a Chromebook, or of Chrome OS. You can't get it just on the regular Chromebook. For some fucking reason. Probably so that you'll buy a Windows device instead of Chrome. And then, rather funnily, in what I'm sure is an absolute complete coincidence, Microsoft last month suddenly announced that the full version of Minecraft is now going to Chrome OS. I wonder why they did that. That's weird. Anyway, the CMA is due to give its final decision on the Microsoft Activision thing at the end of this month, so we'll know then. I believe Japan are the latest to say okay to the deal. The US haven't said okay yet, the EU haven't said okay yet, and the UK has not said okay yet. So they're the three big markets that are still left. Debatable on the UK being a big market anymore, but this deal's gonna go through. It's going to go through, and it's more of a case of what concessions will they manage to drag out of Microsoft before it happens. Anyway, moving on. EA won't let American McGee make another Alice game. So this is kind of news that Alice Asylum, which was going to be the third American McGee's version of Alice in Wonderland, it's not happening. EA are like, nope, fuck you. This was sad news. Sorry, Banana. Yeah, it's not great news. Looking forward to Alice Asylum. Yeah, I was kind of interested to see it myself. I haven't played the other Alice games, but I always appreciated their aesthetic and their story and what they were trying to do with the character. So American McGee's attempt to develop a third installment in his fan favorite Alice series is at an end. So this is coming from McGee's Patreon. Developer said he had exhausted every option for getting a new Alice game made. Electronic Arts decided to pass on the project based on an internal analysis of the IP, market conditions, and details of the production proposal. So basically, they brought the proposal to them, and EA said, nah, what else you got? So they're presented with a design bible and a production plan. So the design bible is when the creatives on the team get together and they're like, okay, what's the game going to look like? What's it going to play like? What engine are we going to use? What's our design pipeline? What's all that stuff? Everything gets planned ahead of time. The production plan, produced in collaboration with Virtuous Games, outlining the schedule, budget, team, design, like everything, basically. After several weeks of review, EA has come back with a response regarding funding and licensing for Alice Asylum. On the question of funding, they have ultimately decided to pass on the project based on an internal analysis of the IP, marketing conditions, and details of the production proposal. So EA are basically saying, people don't want a third Alice game, which is wrong. What they're really saying is we can't find a way to monetize the shit out of this, so we don't want it. Despite passing on the project, so this is the really frustrating bit, honestly. Despite passing on the project, EA was not willing to part with the license. So they see value in it. They see that there is a valuable IP there, but not valuable enough to do something with it. And that is so fucking frustrating. It's like, if you're not going to do something with the IP, give it away. Or sell it, or whatever. Give it to someone who actually wants to do something with it. This is a huge problem with IP, with patent, with copyright. All of it is just tied up in, I'm just going to hoard it. I'm not going to do anything with it. I'm just going to keep it. This is like Konami are sitting on a shit ton of IPs, right? But Konami don't make games anymore. They're sitting on Castlevania, Silent Hill, and so on. But they don't make games anymore. Sony, also sitting on a shit ton of IPs. But they're only making, big open world, Western developed games now at the moment. They're scared their IP will get popular if someone takes it and they won't get any money. This is also possible. It's like, yeah, but we could make money out of it, so we don't want somebody else making money. But we're also not going to make money. We're in fact going to spend money to just maintain the IP. It's so dumb. But it's very frustrating to see. Like, Microsoft are sitting on the Fable IP. Haven't done anything with it. Sitting on the Black and White IP. Haven't done anything with it. They won't give it to Molyneux. I don't think they should give it back to Molyneux because there's other issues with Molyneux. But the whole point is they're sitting on it and doing nothing. Crystal Dynamics are sitting on the Legacy of Kain IP, which is a particular annoyance for me because I really like that series. They're doing nothing with it. They're just sitting on it and doing nothing. Similar to Tomb Raider, haven't done anything with it. Deus Ex, haven't done anything with it in years. They just hoard their IP. Disney, fucking Disney, how many IP are they sitting on? They're doing fucking nothing with it. Guys, give it away. Or let the copyright lapse or something. Anyway, obviously they're not going to do that, but anyway. On the question of licensing, this is again McGee, they reply that Alice is an important part of EA's overall game catalog, and selling or licensing it isn't something that they're prepared to do right now. It's so important, you guys, so important that you can't fucking find it on PC. So important. At this point, we have exhausted every option for getting a new Alice game made. With those answers from EA, there's no other way forward with the project. There's no legal way for them to do anything. They'd have to call it Malice Asylum or something. Even that, I don't think they'd get away with it. McG finishes by stating, I've no other ideas or energy left to apply towards getting a nice Alice game made, no control over the Alice IP, and no ability to make a new game happen, so it's all around, it's dead. It's dead until Andrew Johnson loses his job as CEO of EA, I guess. And that's all they've got. So it's pretty shit. It's also potentially an issue. So McG got a lot of support through the Patreon that they ran that was ostensibly going to like ramp up support for getting Alice Asylum made, the third Alice game. So that's like regular people just putting in money, people who are really into the Alice series or like McGee's stuff in general. And I guess there's like the assumption that, yeah, this will get done. Hey, we're all pulling together and it looks really good and everyone's hype about it. But it didn't. And like, that is a possibility, you know, that your thing won't work out. And that is kind of upfront in a lot of these projects and Kickstarters and Patreons and so on. That, hey, this shit mightn't work. You know, it's we're guessing. We're hoping it'll work, and we're doing our best to make it work, but we can't guarantee it. I'm just worried it will cause like a souring on the whole Patreon Kickstarter idea, and like when you have a fairly high profile thing that doesn't work out. We'll see, I guess. Maybe they'll be able to pivot and develop something else with the same idea in mind. I don't know. Not great. Anyway, go play American McGee's Alice. It's good shit. Alright. Okay, so I'm going to finish off with something a little nicer, a little palate cleanser for all of that doom and gloom. So, the Resident Evil 4 community is obsessed with Ashley as a cartoon mouse. So, there's been a bunch of fan art going around of Ashley Graham from Resident Evil 4, now that the Resident Evil 4 remake has come out and people are noticing changes and stuff like that. And one person decided to just turn Ashley into a mouse. An incredibly cute, an American Tail mouse character. And the kind of general reasoning behind it is Ashley Graham in the original Resident Evil 4 has, shall we say, large ears. Her ears are kind of big, you know? And in the Resident Evil 4 remake, not so much. Her ears aren't that big. Or more specifically, you can't see them. It's covered by her hair. So people were like, hey, what happened to Ashley's giant-ass Dumbo ears, as somebody else put it. So this is from a while ago. Well, it's not actually that long ago. But he's kind of pointing out that, you know, Ashley did originally have very large ears. People did make a lot of fun about it, you know. He's like, did you hear that, Ashley? Like, yes, of course I did. Look at the size of my ears. And someone else pointed out that, hey, what if Ashley doesn't just have giant ears? What if she's like a mouse? Mouse Ashley. Mousely Graham. And that's kind of what this was about, and it's sort of taken off. There's a lot of other people doing riffs on it. There's someone here who put it into an Elden Ring thing, where he's just talking about how great it would be if Ashley was a mouse. There's people turning it into like a Paper Mario character, where, you know, Resident Evil and Ashley Mousley is your buddy. We do memes about it, we're pointing out cheese and so on. It's all over the place. Like, these are a very tiny subset of it. Soon there will be an Ashley Mouse mod. There is. There already is. There already is, Takeda. But yeah, these are kind of like really funny. Really, really funny. Well, like, okay, so there isn't quite like an Ashley as a mouse mod exactly, but there is like allusions to it. Like, there's people who have put in, you can buy cheese at the merchant's shop. For some reason, people have swapped out the bear trap asset so that there's cheese just sitting on the bear trap now instead and stuff like that. It won't be long before we get an actual, you know, model swap for Ashley, or a skin for Ashley where she's a cartoon mouse. But it's very funny. Anyway, what was I gonna do? We will leave Meet Your Maker to loop while I talk in the background. Play? Thank you. that swap? It did. Okay, sorry. Steam Deck took a while to update there. Anyway, that was the news for the 3rd to 9th of April 2023. So you're too long didn't watch. The Final Fantasy Pixel remasters 1 to 6 are coming to Switch and PlayStation. They fixed the fonts. Good stuff. Little Guardsman's announced it's kid-friendly. Papers, please. The Game Pass for April, Wave 1 is out. Loop Hero, Tower Assault, roguelike type thing. It's pretty good. Ghostwire Tokyo's Ninja FPS. It looks okay, or it looks good. Plays meh. Minecraft Legends is a day 1 launch into Game Pass. I don't understand how it's Minecraft, but okay. New releases, Meet Your Maker. It's a base building, base raiding, user-generated content kind of thing. Raven's Watch, jumping into early access on Steam. It's Diablo's Grimm's Tales. Over on the bullshit side of things, Arc 2 has been delayed. The Arc 1 remaster is going to shaft the original players. Activision settles with the US government for capping esports salaries. Sony's really mad at the CMA for siding with Microsoft, and EA is keeping Alice IP hostage, and also Mouchley Graham. Right, moving on. So, that is the news for this week, but what is going on the channel? So, this is our roadmap. No worries, Banana. This is our roadmap for the first 6 months of the year for 2023. So all the way up until the end of June. So reminder for people, or for people who haven't seen it before, what the fuck is this? What is this, Foley? So these are all the games that I'm planning to feature on the channel up until the end of June of this year. The symbolism, if it's green, it means it's been on the channel already. If it's yellow, it is currently in progress. If there's grey, a grey clock, it's on its way pretty soon. And the little yellow wedge in the top left of the games means it's a full Let's Play. If there's no symbol on it, it's coming eventually. I don't know when, but at some stage. So, not too many changes from last week. So the top right corner, I've kind of just penciled in Darksiders 2 as a full Let's Play. I forgot to put the wedge on it, but it's going to be a full LP. It's mostly there to just hold space, because I don't really know what's going to go in that spot, but something's going to go on that spot. Anyway, so elsewhere on the channel, we have some news around emotes. So this is This will be the base for the emotes. So this came back from Phil, who's my art guy, who showed this off. He showed me a couple of different versions. I showed you last week. It was kind of sketch version. Yeah, he's very cute. I showed you some of the sketch versions that he showed me last week, and this is a colored version of it. I was trying to decide which particular design style we wanted to go with. I picked this one. He was pretty happy with it too. I think that was his favorite one as well. So this will be the base, and then there'll be various different versions of it. There'll be like, you know, a laughing one, an angry one, you know, all that kind of stuff. So we'll see how they go. He's still working on them at the moment, but he has other commissions that, you know, he has to do to pay the bills. These are kind of a side job for him. So anyway, we'll see how those work out. So schedule for next week. I didn't have time to get YouTube together, so we're just going to go with it from here. Next week is pretty much the same as last week, which is pretty much the same as the week before, because these games are really long. But Resident Evil 4 remake Monday and Saturday. We've just reached the castle yesterday, so we're moving into Act 2 of Resident Evil 4. Wednesday, Sherlock Holmes Chapter 1. We did a gallery heist case last week that turned into a murder, that turned into another murder, and so on. And I'm surprised it's still on Twitch, because there was a lot of boobs and bums and peen and vag all over the place. But yeah, okay, apparently it stayed on Twitch. Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild on Thursday. We're sort of in a part where I am wrapping up. We have done most of the main quests. We've beaten the Divine Beasts. We have the Master Sword. I am in the middle of doing the Champion's Ballad DLC at the moment. So we did the first half of that. Twitch is fine. The problem is YouTube. Okay, that's true. We'll see if YouTube takes it down. So the Champions Ballad DLC, the first half of it requires you to complete 4 different dungeons with a quarter of a heart. So you're reduced to a quarter of a heart, but you're given a weapon that has a one-hit kill. So it's a sort of heaven and hell mode kind of thing for Legend of Zelda. We're going to do the second part of the Champions Ballad this week, as well as try to gather the last of Link's Missing Memories. Friday, we're going to take a look at Season, a Letter to the Future, which is a kind of collectathon thing. You are a kind of photojournalist or a photo archivist or something like that, traveling around the world as the world is coming to an end. You know, I think there's a global apocalypse on the way, and you are generally trying to catalog culture, like humanity's culture, and try to preserve it through this disaster, and everything will be okay, maybe? I don't know. That's the gist of it. I haven't played it, and I haven't watched any gameplay of it, so I'm not entirely sure how exactly it works. But we're going to take a look at it anyway. And as I said, Resi on Saturday, and then we're back around to the weekly news recap. The weekly news recap, as you may have noticed, has changed times. It's usually at 3 p.m. I'm going to change it to 12 p.m., not a.m. I'm going to change it to 12 p.m. Because it frees up my Sunday a bit better. That's the real reason I'm doing it. And also, it kind of gets me out of bed. Because if I didn't do that, I wouldn't be out of bed until 2 or something like that. So, yeah, that's why I'm doing that. So that is the plan for next week. So Resi Monday, Saturday, Sherlock Holmes Wednesday, Breath of the Wild on Thursday, and Season, a Letter to the Future as part of Foley Plays a Bit series, where I play newly released games for a bit. Anyway, thanks for joining me today, Melwin and Taquita Banana. Appreciate you guys keeping me company. I am going to head off and enjoy my Easter eggs. Just have an incredible sugar spike and then a sugar crash later on today. I'm sure that'll go very well. Right. Have a good rest of your day, and see you tomorrow for Resi. Bye-bye.